Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're pulling back the curtain and looking under the hood of modern AI. We're going to break down how the AI applications we use every single day are actually built.
So, we've all had that wow moment using tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, or Llama. It feels like magic, but there's a huge leap between just using a tool and actually building with it. What does it really take to go from being a user to a creator in this new world of AI? Okay, let's get into it.
All right, the single biggest mental shift you have to make is this. You do not need to build an AI model from scratch. Honestly, trying to do that is fantastically expensive and incredibly complex. The new paradigm, the new set of rules is all about assembly, not invention.
The best way to think about it is like this. You're not mining the iron ore and forging the steel yourself. Instead, you're being handed these incredibly powerful pre-built engines. Your job is to be the architect, snapping them together to create something totally new. But what exactly are these high-tech Lego bricks?
So what does this toolkit actually look like? Well, when you get right down to it, the modern AI stack really boils down to three essential parts. You've got a brain, the plumbing to connect everything, and of course, a memory. First up, you have the large language model, or LLM. This is the brain of your whole operation. It's a massive, powerful model that has already been trained on a gigantic slice of the internet. This is your core engine for reasoning and for generating stuff.
Next up, you need the plumbing. This is where a framework like Langchain comes into play. You can think of it as a kind of universal adapter. It provides all the standardized pipes and connectors that let you easily hook your LLM brain up to other tools and your own data, without having to write tons of messy, custom code from scratch.
And finally, for your AI to be truly useful, it needs a memory. And this is where a vector database comes in. Now, unlike a regular database that just stores rows and columns of text, a vector database stores information based on its conceptual meaning. This gives your application a kind of long-term memory, letting it recall relevant information for whatever specific task you're working on.
And this is where you, as the builder, get to make some really interesting decisions. See, the brain isn't a one-size-fits-all component. You've got choices. Do you need the super advanced reasoning of GPT-4? Or maybe the ability to work with images using Gemini? Or do you want a powerful open-source option like Llama 2? You get to pick the engine that best fits your specific project. So we have our toolkit, the brain, the plumbing, and the memory. What does the process of actually building a simple application look like? Well, it's a surprisingly straightforward process that you can really boil down to just 4 key steps.
It's basically a 4-step dance. First, you get your system set up with the right access keys. Second, you craft a prompt, which is just a clear instruction for the AI. Third, you make what's called an API call, which is really just sending that request over the internet. And fourth, you get a nice, clean response back, ready for your app to use. And this right here, this just perfectly illustrates the heart of the whole interaction. That API call is often just a single, simple line of code. You can see we're not writing complex machine learning algorithms. We're just telling the LLM what we want it to do in pretty plain language. Now, the really crucial part here is the response. You're not just getting a big, messy block of text back. The model can return structured data, like the JSON format you see, which is perfectly organized for your application to then process and display. But, and this is a big but, there's a catch. All of these powerful LLM brains, they have one critical shared limitation. Their knowledge is totally frozen at the moment their training was finished. They are, in a very real sense, time travelers who are stuck in the past. So if you ask a standard LLM about who won last year's World Series or what the weather is today, you'll get a response just like this one. The model simply cannot know what it hasn't been trained on. So how on earth do we give it access to real-time, up-to-the-minute information? Well, the answer is by creating something called an agent. You can think of an agent as a clever assistant that uses the LLM to reason, but it also has a toolkit of its own. So if the LLM doesn't know the answer, the agent can decide to use a tool, like, say, performing a live Google search to go find it. This visualizes the difference perfectly. An LLM on its own is like a brilliant scholar locked in a library, but all the books are a few years old. But an LLM that's empowered by an agent, that's the same scholar with a high-speed internet connection. The difference in what they can do is just night and day.
So let's tie all this together with the single most important takeaway from this whole thing. The game of how we create with artificial intelligence has fundamentally, completely changed.
You know, just a few years ago, the only way to play in this space was to build and train your own giant model. And this costs an absolutely astronomical amount of money, computing power, and data. It put it completely out of reach for pretty much everyone except a handful of giant tech companies.
But today, that barrier has vanished. The new, crucial skill isn't deep machine learning expertise. It's creativity. It's ingenuity. It's the ability to see a problem and figure out the cleverest way to connect these powerful, pre-built components to solve it. So what this means for you, whether you're a developer, an entrepreneur, or just curious about this stuff, is that building with AI is more accessible than ever before. The focus has shifted from the tiny details of model training to the bigger picture of creative problem solving. You can be an architect of these powerful AI systems. So, we'll end with this thought. We are now in an era where these incredibly powerful AI engines are available to almost anyone. The building blocks are on the table. The only question left is, what are you going to build?